Hello. Can you hear me now?
Ha! There we go. Yes, you can hear me now. I just had to beat my mic a couple times and get it to work. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Monday. You missed everything I said over the past 60 seconds, so I'm not going to say it again. We're just going to dive right into it. We're going to take this time to get you guys prepared for today's trading session. Talk about the top stocks, where the best of the best opportunities are going to be at today. Answer you guys' questions. Make sure you guys are fully dialed in to have a awesome, kick-ass, profitable day. Before we do that, though, you guys kind of hit me with a big old good morning. What's up, Jeff? Good morning. Mr. Mike, the Sizzler. What's up, buddy? Hopefully you guys had a really good Father's Day. You guys had a blessed day. And that's what I have to say about that. You couldn't hear me. You look funny when we can't hear you. I'm definitely sure I look hilarious. Internet's back. It was out like half the day on Friday. We had storms roll through Thursday night. It was raining all day Friday. But we good, man. We are back. All right, let's make sure we're good to go here. I think we're good. All right. Yeah, and one thing that I don't know why I've completely spaced on the past week is rocking with our daily devotional or a morning devotional to kick things off. So we're going to get back with it. My goodness, man. I've been struggling here the last week. All right. Dive into it. Then we'll go right into the SPY, the Qs, talk about what we got this week, get you guys prepared. I think someone was saying do we have a holiday this Thursday? What's this Thursday? What holiday is it? Someone's saying markets closed on Thursday for the holiday. What holiday do we got? Holidays this week. I don't know holidays or birthdays or anything like that. This week, the primary holiday is Juneteenth on Wednesday, June 19th. It's a federal holiday. Gotcha. Juneteenth. All right. Markets are closed Thursday. So we got 4 days this week to make it happen. 4 days this week to get locked in. To lock in some big time profits. But today, the devotional that I was reading was from 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. And really the theme, the title is, set the example, be the example. And so it reads, don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. So let's be honest. There's times when we feel like we're just not good enough, right? We're not good enough to do something, whether that's, we're too young, we're too inexperienced. Maybe we feel like we're too underqualified to say go make a difference. But when we really pick apart scripture tells us the complete opposite. When Paul was writing this to Timothy, he wasn't offering a pep talk. He was giving a calling, right? And Timothy was young at the time when Paul was writing to him. He was young. And so Timothy at that time was probably, thinking I'm maybe too experienced. I'm too young. Maybe I'm too underqualified. Thinking he's not good enough, right? Doubting himself. And so as Paul's writing to Timothy, he's not offering a pep talk like, come on, buddy, you got this. He was given a calling, a reminder that your age or stage doesn't necessarily disqualify you. It positions you. Not someday, but today. You don't need a platform. You don't need a crazy title. You don't need a spotlight to lead. You simply just lead by how you live. And even if you just lead your family and you don't lead anybody else or no one else is called to God through your works and what you do, you're still able to lead those around you. And so, like I said, you don't need a platform. You don't need a title. You don't need a spotlight to lead. You simply just lead by how you live your life. Your words can speak life. Your choices can reflect integrity. Your love can heal. Your faith can inspire other people. Your purity can point other people to God and having a relationship with God. The truth is, God's placed you right here, right now for a reason. You bring a perspective. You have a skill set, a passion, and a presence that this moment in history needs. You were placed right here, right now, for a reason. You're not too young, too small, too late. God has called you to be an example, to impact others in your life right now with where you are currently at. So, challenge today is lead with your life. Let your actions reflect the love that God has for you and that the love that you had for God. Speak with kindness, walk in faith, love well, and remember your example might be the encouragement someone else needs to hear to keep on going. So again, today was 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. Don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. Lead by example. Live your life and lead with how you live your life. So amen to that, ladies and gentlemen. Amen to that on this beautiful Money Monday. Now we can officially go dive into stocks, right? The moment y'all been waiting for. But we put God front and center around here, guys. So we're always starting that. All right, so let's go take a look at the economic calendar for today, and let's see what we have going on. All right, we know that we have Thursdays closed. Looks like we may have some like FOMC minutes this week, but today, June 16th, what's on the economic calendar? We have nothing, so we're good to go. Tomorrow morning, we have retail sales at 8:30. Then we're pretty much good tomorrow after retail sales. Wednesday, June 18th. What do we have? 8:30, we have jobless claims, housing starts, FOMC economic projections. We got the Fed press conference taking place here on Wednesday as well. So we get the rate decision, economic projections, 2:30 press conference. This is all going to take place Wednesday. 2 o'clock, 2:30. As we know, markets closed on Thursday. Then we come back to wrap up the week on Friday with nothing else really on the economic calendar. So it's a light week with economic data, but Wednesday's a key day. Rate decision, economic outlook, things of that nature. We know that the market tends to move, especially during the press conference when Jay Powell's up there. Jay Powell saying what Jay Powell says. Market moves. Market reacts. There's typically some opportunity. So again, maybe we can carve out some time end of day Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, to hop in the Zoom session and see what the market gives us. See if there's any opportunity to lock in some profits. But anywho, that's what we have for today. Again, nothing on the economic calendar for today, so we're good to go right into the charts, pick this apart, and see what we got working for today's session. So right now we're going right to the daily time frame here on the SPY. And first thing I'm doing, I'm just looking for any key areas of daily supply or daily demand, right? That's the first thing I'm doing. So I'm starting where price is currently at. I'm looking up to the left for supply, looking down to the left for demand, and I'm just starting at current price, right? So if I look up to the left and I'm looking for supply, the first area that stands out to me is back here in like February, where we have this nice little drop base drop formation. So we can see that nice big impulse to the downside. We have our clear basing candle. So we can go ahead and mark up that daily supply zone here on the SPY. It's at all-time highs, and so the rule of thumb is there's no supply at all-time highs. So again, we just got to tread lightly at this zone. If price gets there, maybe there's a setup, maybe there's the trade. Who knows? Maybe we have additional confluence, but no supply at all-time highs, so we're already starting to tread lightly with taking trades off that zone, but it is a good little looking supply zone, right? Nice drop, base drop, big impulse to the downside, breaks the oppositional leg in. It's a strong zone, but again, rule of thumb is no supply at all-time highs, tread lightly at those areas, wait for some confirmation with added confluence. Go from there. All right, price down to the left, looking for any areas of demand. So yeah, we start to see that we're going to have some lower demand down here. We have this nice little drop base rally right here. So there's a little drop base rally. We did break the prior high. Nice impulse to the upside. So we can go ahead and mark that daily demand zone up if we want. It's just a very big daily demand zone. And I'm not crazy how we gapped down the second day. So we'll probably get some better structure on a lower time frame when we get to like a 4 hour, a 1 hour. We'll really see where some of that lower time frame demand is, because that's a pretty big daily zone. Where are you trading inside that daily zone? You're not. So there's daily demand down there, but it's not like we're going to be able to find a trade inside of that $5 zone. So we'll just drill it down to the lower time frames and see where that demand is. Let's go look for some key areas of support and resistance. Some of the best areas that we want to look to take trades off of today. All right, we got the zone down here in the 597s. So this is going to be a nice little daily zone of support resistance. It's 597.35 to 598.02. And it was really just up against those prior highs. We came up, tap, 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 big drops to the downside. And we see that we've hit this zone several times in the past. But what really stands out to me is we had these 3 highs of day back to back to back. And look at that big dump, that big drop to the downside. So that's going to be a pretty significant level here on the spot. All right. Again, that's 597.35 to 598.02. All right. Then we work ourselves down a little bit lower. And then we start to see that there's going to be another pretty key area of support to the downside. That's going to be down here between 594.98 to 595.57. And again, we've just come in and we've hit this area many, many, many times in the past. And it's the same area that we came down to Friday, and it looks like we tapped that level pretty much as low a day on Friday. Came down, hit it. Decent little pop-up for that level towards the end of the session on Friday, but that was an area that we came down to, we hit, and we popped. We got that top zone that we just found. Let's go see what else we've got on the SPY. And all we're doing is we're finding key significant daily zones of support and resistance based on that simple little process that I put together as far as what are the pieces of criteria that need to be met in order for that to be considered a key significant zone. And so that's all we're doing. It's just we're applying that methodology and we're identifying where those key zones are at. Once we get this dialed in, our trading's easy. We just get down to our lower time frame. We wait for the stock to get into one of these key levels, and we simply start taking trades when price is at these key zones. I mean, it makes our trading so simple. These zones are hit and respected 70, 80% of the time. And just all you have to do is wait. Like, that's it. Just wait for the stock's price to get there, read price action, and you just take trades off these, key daily zones. Like, dude, you're going to be doing all right. So we got this nice little daily zone up here between 599.24 to 599.59. And then let's go get one last zone to the upside. One final zone that, hey, price gets there, we absolutely could see a trade setting up. So top zone for today is $600.88 to 601.33. So what have we done so far here on the daily? Well, we found some daily supply. We have some daily demand. We got 4 great looking high probability zones of support resistance. So we've done all of our zoning. Do we have any gaps that stand out? Gaps that could get filled? I don't see any gaps. Can I run a trend line? Are there a series of, say, higher lows where I can run an uptrend? Do we have a series of lower highs where I can run a downtrend? No. Is there any clear leg to the upside where I can run a fib retracement on that leg and see, are we going to have a retracement level hit? I don't really see this being a proper leg to the upside. The daily. I mean, here's a leg up, pull back, leg up, pull back, leg up, pull back. So you've already seen it kind of stair step and sway on up on the daily. Let's go look at the weekly. And if we start to look at the weekly, we can see that we had this nice leg to the upside. We get a pull back and our next leg up. So we could go ahead and say on the weekly, this is a simple little leg to the upside on the weekly. And I would now go ahead and just take a fib from that swing low to that swing high and look at this as being like one nice weekly leg to the upside from swing low to swing high. We break the prior high in the process. This is a leg to the upside. Is it the first leg? No, it's not the first leg. Where's your first leg at? Really, it's back here. First leg up, pullback, second leg working on the pullback for potentially the third leg into those all-time highs. So we'll go ahead and take a fib from that swing low to that swing high and just get an idea of where are those fib retracement levels at. So we had the 23.6 sitting right there. Did we see it respected at all? And that's the biggest thing is I want to see, is that level respected? Well, the first time we came down to that 23.6 level, we did respect it. We hit it as support. So at least we see some decent price action off that fib level. Next one to the downside's that 38.2, but price, actually it did. Look, it came down to the 38.2 on Friday, and it popped right off of it. So this is going to be a pretty valid fib level, right? This is definitely an area that if we get down to that 50% retracement mark, or maybe even that golden pocket based on that fib retracement, and it lines up with, wow, daily demand. I think that's going to start to be a pretty nice area to get long and start thinking about swing trades off some of this daily demand that we have down below. And it's a simple retracement to get long for the next leg to the upside. It's a really simple type of trade. So we have this leg to the upside. And at some point, if we get down into daily demand, we know it's right up against that 50% fib retracement level. And that's a great area that we can see buyers start to step back in and see the next leg to the upside. So we want to definitely start looking at this 588 level being a pretty nice area for some swing trades on the SPY. Down around 588, 589, 588. But we got some work to do, right? Because we're at $600, right? $600. And so the SPY would have to get down around 588 before we start thinking about some swing trades to the long side. So it's not like, right, we're going to get down to 588 today. So, hey, we got some other really great zones that we can start the trade off of today for some nice day trades, some nice base hit scalps. But we need to go find one more daily zone to the upside. And then we'll go ahead and drill this down into some lower time frames and go from there. And then the best part, where we start building our plans for the day. And Josh just gets to give you the plans on a silver platter. You don't have to do anything. You just get to follow along. And when the stock gets to the zone and it sets up based on the plan, you could freely take it. And I put my name behind it. So you're welcome. All right, so we got this daily zone up here between 602.53 to 602.91. And before you guys judge my pink cup, look in the mirror. That's all I have to say. Just look in the mirror. And then come back and try and judge me on this pink cup. You probably won't do it. It's a joke. I'm kidding. You guys are beautiful. All right. Everybody's beautiful. Corey, what's up, man? All right. So daily time frame, we're good, right? Supply and demand analysis. We see a leg up for the fib. We have our best of the best key daily zones of support resistance. So daily analysis, we're done. We're going to go ahead and flip this down into a 4-hour. And we're going to take a little peekarooski at the 4-hour. And I'm looking for 4-hour supply and demand. Or 4-hour uptrends, downtrends that I just cannot see on a daily. Do I have any daily, 4-hour supply and demand? No. We had that little demand zone. We already came down, hit it on Friday. So nothing on a 4-hour that I see near current price. Let's go down to a 1-hour time frame. Could I put a 1-hour downtrend on this bad boy? Yeah. And we're starting to break the downtrend here. All right. Do I have any supply? Well, yeah, kind of. You got that little 1-hour supply zone from Friday. You got that little rally-based drop formation. So let's go ahead and mark that up because it is some valid 1-hour supply, right? Look at Friday. We have this nice little rally, base, drop. That was a very strong drop to the downside. We broke the prior swing low in the process. That's a valid supply zone on the 1-hour, right up against that little spinning top on Friday session. And what do you notice about that supply zone? It lines up with that daily zone of resistance. So we already have confluence. We have 2 reasons to get short around 601 today. Off supply, off that daily zone of resistance. All right, let's keep doing it. Do we have any other zones of supply or demand on a 1-hour? We do, right here. So we can go ahead and mark up that zone of supply as well. We have this nice little drop-based drop formation. But here's one thing that I want you to understand is this supply zone was created in after-hour session. What do we notice about after-hours trading? Volume is low. What do we know about intraday trading? Volume is high. So when I see a intraday supply zone, and I compare it to a pre-market, post-market supply zone, I already know that I'm going to put more weight on the intraday zone versus the pre-market zone simply due to the volume traded at that point in time. The whole concept is there's left behind orders, right? But how much volume was even traded to see how many left behind orders are there in the first place. So go ahead and look at like this area here on the SPY since we're talking about it. We have this nice little basing candle. 6,000 shares were traded. And then we saw 25,000 shares on the next 1-hour candle. So 6,000 shares and then 25,000 out. So let's just say that was the imbalance. Someone coming in trying to pick up, say, 50,000 shares. They only got filled on 25,000 shares, but we saw the impulse out. So, okay, what, maybe 25,000 shares left over based on just overall volume that was traded during that time? But then compare it to this intraday zone where we see 751,000 shares traded, followed by 1 million shares out, right? Which zone do you think has a lot of left behind orders, right? Just think supply and demand concepts. Unfilled orders left behind that when we revisit these price levels, we pick up the orders and we see a move. We see a reaction. Which one do you think is going to be more significant? The supply zone that only has 25,000 shares traded during that period of time, or the supply zone where we have 1 million shares traded during that period of time, right? Which area, what zone is going to have more unfilled orders? Well, definitely the area where we had 1 million shares traded compared to 25,000 shares traded. Does that make sense? It's not to say that this 1-hour supply zone isn't going to be respected. It's not to say it's shit altogether. It's still a valid zone, but we just need to understand the difference between that zone and this zone. I'm more convicted and confident in trading off this lower supply zone based on the volume traded at that time compared to this one. This supply zone, I need more confluences, right? I need to validate that, hey, there's going to be a trade that pops off here. And that's it. It's just being mindful of the significance between my zones, right? Not all supply and demand zones are equal. Some are going to be far more significant than others, just like support and resistance, right? There's going to be other zones far more significant than others. And we just have to understand what makes a zone significant, what makes a zone not so significant. And that's how I look at it. During that time that we created that supply or demand candle, right, that basing candle, how much volume was traded? How many shares left behind could there possibly be? And again, it just allows us to get positioned correctly at these areas. It allows us to understand what we're looking for to take trades at these levels. We're just mindful of this stuff. All right. So, again, we got that little supply candle, but we had some supply from the previous day. So all of this was literally just a hit off previous supply. So we had this little drop, base drop, price comes in, hits all of these unfilled orders, right? And we see it pop out. Again, another little base impulse created during pre-market. I'm already trading lightly with that top zone, right? But we talk about this lower zone of supply here. Nice little rally, base drop, significant zone, nice and tight, lines up at that daily zone of resistance. Hey, I may go ahead and log into the futures account and take a ES trade to the short side as we're jamming. But I need to go ahead and see if I have some lower time frame zones that stack on top of my larger time frame zone. So there is your 30-minute basing candle right there. You have your drop, base drop. So there's your 30-minute supply zone. Let's go finish this up on a 15-minute time frame, and we should be good to go. There is your rally base drop. It's the same zone as the 30 minutes, so we're good. But what do we notice? We have a 1-hour zone of supply, we have a 30-minute zone of supply, and we have that daily zone of resistance, and they all stack on top of each other. So supplies on top of supply, supplies on top of resistance. So is this a great area to be playing some puts here on the SPY? I would say so. Absolutely. So if we can come up a little bit deeper into supply and see the reaction to the downside, I would look to short the SPY back down to like 599. And that's going to be your next lower daily zone of support. So that's going to be game plan number one on the SPY, guys. And if you guys trade futures, this trade could set up in the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It could set up at market open for you options traders. But what do we know about the SPY? This is where we want to be looking to get short because we have a key daily zone of resistance and we have two overlapping zones of supply. This is an A-plus area to be getting short. There's an 80% chance that we see price fall to the downside off that zone. And so if there's an 80% chance that if I get short, I'm going to make money, I'm taking those odds 100% of the time. And so there's an 80% shot that if we get short here, we're going to see the move back down to 599.50. So that's going to be game plan number one, is getting short off that daily zone of resistance between $600.88 to 601.33. That's the zone of resistance. And then we have those two overlapping zones of supply. So short right around 601. Stops above 601.90. So you got to probably give it about $1 of risk to be safe on this trade, probably like upwards of $1. How much downside can you get? You could probably squeeze $2 out of this. So you're going to rock probably a simple little 2-to-1 risk reward on that setup. That's probably what you're looking to get, a little 2-to-1. All right, so that's game plan number one. Game plan number two, let's say price breaks through all of that supply. And let's say price on the SPY breaks through that daily zone of resistance. What would we do? Well, we would go ahead and remove those supply zones because they've been mitigated. We would wait to see if price comes back down into that zone and see if we hold it as support. So if we break that zone of resistance, we get through that top supply, and we come back down and retest old resistance as new support, I'll get long. I'll trade the retest long. It's simple. Break and retest, play it long. Where to? 602.50, 603. So we know we have about $2 that we can catch to the upside here on the SPY. So that's me game plan number two, is if we get through that supply, if we get through that daily zone of resistance. But right now, we got supply overhead. We have key resistance overhead. And that's why we've stopped moving to the upside right at that level, because there are unfilled orders getting taken out and there are sellers stepping in off resistance, and people that were getting long are taking profit. There is just simply more selling taking place up here than buying. And if we continue to see more selling than buying, what is price going to do? Well, it's going to fall. Basic supply and demand, right? Basic economic shit, right? If there's more sellers than buyers, prices fall. So if we continue to see there are more sellers up here than buyers, there's a great high probability chance that we continue to see price fade and fall to the downside. That's why we want to get short, right? So those are your two plans for today. Getting short off supply and resistance. We discussed it. You guys are dialed. The second plan was the break, the retest for the continuation move to the upside. We've talked about it. You guys are dialed in on the two plans for the SPY for today, guys. All right, let's go look at the Qs. The cutie Qs. And we're going to do a little speed round. We're just going to rip through it really, really quick. And I'm just going to give you guys all of the zones. Not really take too much time to explain them, because we spent like literally 30 minutes doing this on the SPY. So I think you guys get the process. You guys understand. And so we're just going to rip through the Qs. And I'm just going to give you guys the game plans. Speed it up a little bit. And then we'll have more time to look at your stocks as well. So we got a pretty big zone down here. We could tighten it up. Yeah, so you got this lower zone down here between 521.96 to 522.70. It's going to be a lower zone of support for today. If we start to look more to the upside, where's going to be our next daily zone of resistance? It's not even resistance. It's going to be support to the downside, but you got this really nice dialed in zone. Down between 525.74 to 526.51. Same zone that we came down to Friday, and we had a nice pop on Friday off that zone. But that zone was created like fucking 6 months ago. Like, look left. A lot of resistance. Support. Support. Resistance. 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 Support. Support. Resistance. Support. Oh my gosh. Why did it come down to that level on Friday and bounce off of it? I don't know. It's just not a key level of support. Yeah, so we already came down to that level. We hit it on Friday, and we had a massive pop to the upside off that zone. So it's a key zone, guys. And that's why I want you guys to get really good at finding these zones. Like, again, I don't need Friday's low a day to find the zone. I don't need Friday's low a day for this to be a zone. Let me just remove Friday's low a day. All right, that's what my chart looks like without Friday's low a day. Right? So let's just go back in time. Let's step into our time machines, right? We're in our time machine, and we're going to go back to last Friday morning at 8:30, before Friday's candle was even here, right? So we're just got in our time machine. We're back, and it's Friday morning. It's 8:30. Market's not even open, and we're doing our zoning, and we find a really nice zone here between 525.74 to 526.51. It meets the criteria to be a good zone. High day rejection, high day rejection, high day rejection. There's 3 hits right there. Low a day bounce, 4 hits. Low a day bounce, 5 hits. High day rejection, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, cool. So I have a zone that's been hit 13 times. Cool, right? I need to see a zone hit as many times as possible, at least more than 5. 13 hits off the zone. Cool. Do I have any sharp moves off the zone? That's something else I have to see, are sharp moves off the zone. Look at that. High day, rejection, sharp move to the downside. High day, rejection, sharp move to the downside. So do I have a lot of hits? Yes. Do I have sharp moves, significant moves off that zone? Yes. Is this a zone that we would have found last Thursday, last Friday morning? Yes, absolutely. And so look at what it does Friday. Comes down, hits the zone, pops. Shocking. Comes down, hits the zone, pops. Shocking. It's not shocking. It's not a coincidence. These zones are respected like 80% of the time, right? Because they're dialed in key great levels. And when price gets to these zones, we typically see nice big moves off of these zones. So again, just stressing the importance of getting good at this process, finding these key zones, and just simply waiting for price to get to one of these key zones, and then just start taking your trades, guys. All right. And so all of the zones we give you today, they're valid, right? We're going to see them respected more times than not. But let's go ahead and remove the replay mode, get back into the daily, right? We saw that zone respected. It was hit. We bounced. We popped. Nice little move there on Friday. That's still a valid zone for today. Where's your next zone going to be? Now it starts to get kind of challenging because you're working through a lot of this daily chop. All right, but we are going to have a zone right here. And don't worry, yes, I'll give it to you. It's going to be here between 528.73 to 529.28. That's a very nice looking zone. And then we got to go find one more to the upside. We need at least one more to the upside here. Where is our top zone of resistance? I would have to say it's going to be back up between 531.24 to 531.90. So we got 4 dialed in zones of daily support resistance. Do we have any like supply and demand? Well, we got that supply zone here on the cues. So we'll go ahead and mark up that daily supply zone. Do we have any lower demands? Yeah, when we get back into like the 515s. So we're good on that. Let's go ahead and take this down into a 4-hour. Ah, shit. Now we got to get one more zone to the upside. Because we're already sitting at that 531 zone in pre-market. So we're going to need to find one more key level to the upside. And this one's easy. It's just right here.
That's an easy zone.
All right, yeah. So that final zone to the upside is going to be 533.06 to 533.83. All right. And then we're really just working that supply zone, right? If we get through that top zone, right, where's your next significant level of resistance? Well, it's not really till you get up towards around some of that supply. So there's a lot of potential to the upside. Let's go into a 4-hour time frame, and we're doing the same shit. Supply and demand on a lower time frame. Yeah, buddy. Here is some 1-hour supply right here. Why is this? Yeah, I said 1 hour. I lied. It's 4-hour. But what do we see? We see this rally, base, drop. That was a strong impulse to the downside. It broke the oppositional leg in. So that's a valid supply zone right here on the 4-hour. Rally, base, drop. So mark it up. What do you notice? 4-hour supply lines up with daily resistance. Do we think that 533 is going to be a great area to get short? Probably. Yeah, we already got confluence up there. Dope. We're good to go on the 4-hour. Do we have any 4-hour demand? Yeah, back down in like the 520s. I mean, you see this nice little drop base rally. Price comes in, hits some of those unfilled orders, pops out. But that's back in the low 520s. We're at 531. We're not moving 10 points today, so I could care less about that lower demand zone. Let's go to a 1-hour time frame. All right, there's your 1-hour supply from Friday right there. Price is currently hitting 1-hour supply from Friday. There's your rally, base, drop. Did we break the prior swing low? We did. We closed below it. So nice move to the downside. Great impulse out. So you got some 1-hour supply sitting right there. Oh, would you look at that? It lines up with our daily zone of resistance. Who would have thought? So this is going to be a great area to get short as well. It's going to be like 531.60, 531.70. Get short on the Qs. Back down to 529. You got some supply sitting there. And you have that daily zone of resistance. Okay? And so we're good on the 1 hour. Let's go wrap it up on a 30. All right? And then we can go look at some individual stacks. All right, cool. What do we got on a 30? There is your 30-minute supply candle right there. Right there is your drop base drop on the Qs. All right, so let's go ahead and build the plans. Plan number 1, it's simple. Getting short around 531.60 to like 531.80. Getting short somewhere in that region. Why the F would Josh want to just get short between 531.60 and 531.80? Right? Why does Josh want to get short? Daily zone of resistance. That's one reason. It's a key significant daily zone of resistance. All right. So if we just naturally have good price action there and we see there's more sellers than buyers, fuck, I want to get short there. It's just clear as day. What else do I have? 4-hour supply. What else do I have? 1-hour supply. So I have 3 zones sitting on top of one another, resistance and supply. So I already know, just based on the analysis I've done, 70, 80% of the time, we're going to fall off that level. 70, 80% of the time, we're going to fall. So if that's the case, 70, 80% of the time, we're going to fall off that level. Why would I not want to get short? The odds are in my favor. It's not a 50-50 coin toss trade. It's an 80-20 fucking setup. I'm definitely playing those odds, right? If you could go to a casino and consistently place a bet that had 80-20 odds, would you always play that table or that slot machine that paid you 80-20? Yeah. You would go in with thousands of dollars and consistently do the same thing over and over and over, knowing that 80% of the time you're going to hit, right? Same shit with trading. 70 to 80% of the time, the trade's going to hit. It's going to fall. Why would you not place a bet and play those odds? Yeah, 20, 30% of the time you're going to lose. So you got to be really good at managing your risk, but 70 to 80% of the time, the trade's going to hit and put you in profit. Why would you not want to play those odds? It's crazy. And that's what trading is. It's just a game of probabilities. That's all trading is. Probabilities, risk management, mindset. You dial those 3 things in, you're good. It would be like you going to the casino, finding a game that had 80-20 odds. You would consistently play that game, that table. It would be a no-brainer. You would be stupid to do anything else. Game plan number 1 on Qs. We're good. And honestly, it's the same plan that we had on the SPY. So if we break through all that supply, well, the supply's been mitigated. We remove it completely. Then we look and see, do we retest that daily zone of resistance as intraday support? We call that a break and retest. So if we break that zone and retest it as support, what do? We play calls, right? We just trade the retest and we play the move to the upside because 70 to 80% of the time when that happens, we get the move up. Right? So I'm playing those odds. So that's going to be game plan number 2, guys. But right now, if you guys trade futures, I think you may have a nice trade setting up on the Qs and the SPY short. So ES in Q, yeah, go rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Go make some shmonies. Go crush it. All right, we're good. SPY, you guys are set. Qs, you guys are set. I can't do analysis on IWM because when I look at IWM's daily time frame, I have 7 candles. Like, where's the last 17 years of price history of IWM? I don't have it. It's like IWM doesn't exist. Small caps? What are small caps? So I can't even do IWM if I wanted to. So what are some individual stocks you guys are looking at for today? And while you guys post up your stocks that I can review for you, I'm going to go warm up my coffee. You're probably like, you don't need more coffee. Yes, I do. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. I told you guys not to leave. Where'd you go? Said, give me like 2 minutes. I'll be back. Nope, he's gone. I already got my game plans on the spy. We don't need Josh anymore. Just use him and abuse him. No big deal. All right. What else are we looking at? Homeboys and homegirls. What time frame would I trade this on? 5 minute? 2 minute, 5 minute. So as you guys can see, and don't judge my hair, I'm growing my hair out. Look at how luscious this is getting. Wow. And you can see the gray locks. Fucking wisdom. It's wisdom. Yeah, so we do our analysis on the higher time frames, right? So monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute, 15. So all the main time frames you saw me on, I'm doing analysis on those time frames. Market opens at 9:30. What do? I flip down into my 2 minute, my 5 minute, and I'm actively watching the stock move off these levels on a 2 minute, 5 minute time frame. And when I see something that looks good, like good price action off resistance, I'll execute and manage my trades on the lower time frames, like a 2 minute, like a 5 minute. Aaron. When does the market open? 9:30 Eastern. You're new to crypto. I love crypto. I invest in it. You're watching my best friend grow. Who are you? I don't know you. What's up, best friend? I almost called you beautiful. I mean, you are beautiful. What's up, dude? He said he's watching his best friend grow. Yeah, you're watching your best friend grow his hair. He's going to put it in a man bun soon. Man bun 2026, baby. You missed the SPY. That's unfortunate. If I had time, I would go through it again. But catch us tomorrow. You guys will get a sense of the process that I follow to find great trades that play out most of the time. What do you recommend to start? Swing trade, day trade? Doesn't matter. Depends on how much time you have to commit to the market. So if you said, I work a 9 to 5 and I work from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, well, you're not going to fucking day trade, right? What are you going to day trade? Maybe futures at night. Or you're not day trading options or shares, market's closed. So you'd probably be better off swing trading if that's the case. But if you're like, honestly, dude, I could trade from 9:30 to 11:30, Monday through Friday. I got the time. Learn how to day trade. It doesn't matter. Yeah, the foundation you build to be a profitable day trader ties into swing trading, right? The foundation you build to be a profitable swing trader, it ties into day trading. It's all the same shit. What's the biggest difference between a day trade and a swing trade? The length of time you're in the trade and the time frame that you do your analysis on. That's the only difference, right? So I analyze the market and I find quick 5 to 10 minute day trades, or I can analyze the market and find swing trades that last 5 to 10 days. It's just the length of time that you're in the trade, but the concepts, right? The foundations, the technicals, it's all the same, regardless of day traded or swing traded. Setups would be a little bit different. You know, expectations, planning would be different. Of course, there's a few little tweaks, but for the most part, 95%, I mean, it applies to any market, any style of trading. Crypto, day trading, swing trading, Forex. Doesn't matter. You got futures contracts rolling. Keep rolling, monkey. Dude, Oracle just absolutely freaking insane after earnings. SMCI looks like ass. Good thing we didn't have a swing trade set up. Disney, nothing on Disney. Tesla. Nothing on Tesla. What about AMD's notes? I've always wanted to do that when someone says AMD. I'm like, yeah, I'll go look at AMD's notes. Nothing on AMD. My wife's probably in the other room, like, just laughing right now. Like, he's over there on a live stream saying, D's nuts. That's not family friendly. That is not PG-13. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I don't really see anything else that pops off. So what's another individual stock you guys are looking at? And I'll take a little peek-a-rooski and see what we get. I don't really see too much, man. Right at first glance. Not a lot. What's my winning percentage? I fall in the 60s. But I'm not a one-to-one trader either. Right? So I have students that are like one-to-one traders that bang out like high 70, low 80 win rates. And that's fucking awesome. I'm not a one-to-one. I shoot for 2-to-1, 3-to-1 setups. My win ratio sits in the 60s consistently. Very profitable system. So, I mean, for me to be break even, I have to fall below a 33% win rate to even be break even. So I have to have a pretty hit or miss month to even be break even. So, He doesn't read the chat, just babbles. Yeah, I mean, I babble so much. I don't even know what I'm babbling about. Probably answering a lot of questions from reading the chat. Get it up to 70, 80% you can teach. Okay, I think we have a troll. Let's welcome the troll, ladies and gentlemen. You got to have a high win ratio to be a good leader and a good teacher, because the higher the win rate, the better the trader you are. Right. Makes a lot of sense. Wow. Funny. Here's one thing I will say, guys, is don't focus so much on your win percentage. Like, you could literally be a 20% win rate trader, but if you're banging out 21 setups consistently with a unique edge, who gives a fuck what your win ratio is? You're making money. Like, I have met traders that literally swing for the fences on all their trades. They're boom or bust home run trades. Out of every 10 trades they take, 8 to 9 will bust and stop them out. But they'll get one trade that pops for every 10. And I mean, it's a home run, 10 to 1, 20 to 1 setup. So it's like, yeah, they have 9 losers. Paper cut, paper cut, paper cut, paper cut, paper cut, paper cut. They're good at managing risk. They got their mindset dialed. Paper cut, paper cut, paper cut. Boom, one hits, makes them a fuck ton of money. They're 20% win rate traders. Your win ratio is just one teeny metric in the bigger picture of things, right? You can be a consistently profitable trader with a 20, 30% win rate. There's other key factors that you need to be mindful of. So win ratio is not everything in trading. Yeah, I mean, statistically, pro traders in the 50s on win percentages. Yep. Jared says buzz off. Jared, the GOAT. Thanks, Jared. What do I use to trade? I use TradingView for charting, and then I use Interactive as my broker. Yeah, be patient. I'll answer, guys. I answer all of them. I mean, I try to answer all of them. Chat, what do you guys use to trade? Again, yeah, TradingView for charting. I use Interactive Brokers. Do you call live trades? I do trade live with my students. Yeah. Absolutely. But if you're thinking this is like one big Discord group where I just call shit out, no. Alerts don't work. Call out services don't work. I mean, if there was a holy grail alert service or call out service on Discord, I mean, dude, there'd be more profitable traders. So we don't just trade live and show you how good of a trader Josh is. I actually teach you the skills to be a good trader independently on your own. But through that process, am I taking trades? Yes. Are they done live? Yes. Do I share my winners and my losers? Of course. But that's not what gets our students to profitability. It's just me calling out trades live. Zones. Jared has gone. Jared's already gone through a lot of the free trainings, and Jared's been on fire lately. So, all right, guys, what time? Oh shit, it's 9:29. We got to bounce, so I got to get that Zoom fired up, and I'll see you guys in the Zoom session here in a moment, and we'll kick off our coaching session for today. So give me a second. Let me fire that up,